What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about what the weekends were like when I was in BMT. Now on this channel I talk about military content and also Air Force content. And if that's what you're looking for, definitely pause the video and hit the subscribe button. And when you do, remember to turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload a brand new video. But first, let's cover some basics. My name is Michael Inman, and I'm an airman in the United States Air Force. I upload a video every Monday, so if you like this one, definitely check out my next one next week. So, what were the weekends like in BMT? So the first thing to kind of lay out is that there's kind of two, generally, you could almost say three, but let's go with two primary schedules for BMT. One is the work week, which is actually Monday through Saturday, not Friday, Saturday. And then there is Sunday. So I'm first going to kind of break down what was Saturday like during, weekends during my BMT experience. It does have a slower and more casual pace, but at the same time, it's still a work day, so you better get some stuff done. The first thing that your Saturday is going to start off with, just like the other days, Monday through Friday, is going to be PT. If you're there during the summer season, your PT is going to be in the mornings. But if you're there during the winter season, your PT is actually going to take place midday when the sun's at least gotten into the sky and tried to make it less terrible outside. So following PT, you then are going to do details as a flight. So as we've already discussed, some of you guys will be in the latrine or the restroom. And then some of you guys will be in the day room or the meeting room. And all of you guys will be doing various details, hopefully very efficiently because you've been working as a flight for a while, getting things done and just making sure everything is clean and tidy for the week to come. Following your 30 minutes to maybe 45 minutes of cleaning as a flight, the next thing that will happen during your Saturdays is actually marching practice and or parade practice. And so these are things that usually correlate with your final graduation ceremony, even if it is going to be happening virtually. For our friends and family at home, you still need to understand how to march and when to turn left and what to do and when to turn your head toward your family or at least toward the cameras. So that is what's going to take place next on a Saturday, is you're going to go to the marching pads and your flight is going to continue kind of fine tuning and making sure everything is prim and proper for your marching and your final parade ceremony. And so that's going to take about an hour and 15. You then are going to enjoy your lunch as a flight. I did kind of skip over it, but on Saturdays you do have breakfast as a flight, and all of the meals of your day are going to be collective as a flight per usual. It's only till we start talking about Sunday or tomorrow when you start to have this weird freedom on when you eat. So you then will go to lunch, and following lunch is when usually, at least our flight, we started doing laundry. And so in this video, I'm going to refer to it as laundry part 1, because the first day of the weekend, you of course do a large load of laundry, but on Sunday, you also do a large load of laundry just because, there's limited washers and you're trying to get a lot of people's things done over the weekend. Now, the experience of going to do laundry is much more different. Is that English? Is different when you live in Disneyland compared to Alcatraz. If you don't know the differences between those two dorm experiences, check out my video. But regardless, doing laundry will be a part of your experience on the weekends no matter where you live. It's just more of a hike if you live in Alcatraz. Following laundry, that is when on Saturday you start having about an hour to 2 hours to just really get your dress and appearance correct. And so that means everything from clipping strings on your laundry, to folding your shirts, to rolling your socks, and making sure everything in your locker is where it's supposed to be. So it's not very fun, but it's a great time to really make sure everything's fine so that if there's any surprise inspections, you hopefully will get less than 3 demerits. Good luck. Following dress and appearance and getting your locker organized, not to be anticlimactic, but pretty much Saturday ends with chilling with the boys or the girls for my females out there, and or studying your BMT. Because some of y'all I know are really trying to get that 99 or 100% on that end of course test. I see you, I'm rooting for you, best of luck. And others out there are really just trying to pass. I respect you and I understand you. So regardless, Saturday afternoons and evenings are a great time to, get the study guide out, read through the chapters that were a little fuzzy, and just fine tune some things. That actually does summarize what a Saturday during basic military training was like for me in my flight. And it probably will be similar for yours. But let's get into why you all really clicked on the video. What the heck is a Sunday like? So first and foremost, Sunday represents, at least represented for my flight, the only non-work day. So of course, the pacing and the busyness is going to be turned to an all-time low. So first and foremost, what happens? Everyone sadly does have to wake up at the same time on Sundays. There is no sleeping in at basic training. However, the way it does nuance a bit or become a little different than most days is when you go to breakfast is dependent upon if you're going to a church service, when that church service starts, and or if you are not going to any service. Meaning, let's say a Catholic service at 8 a.m. will clearly have the first slot for breakfast. And that's for all flights in your squadron. Anyone going to that service will go to breakfast first because they have the earliest service. And then the people who are not going to any service, they will have the last breakfast slot. And that's probably going to be a very large chunk of people. And it's not very far off. It's probably 9:15 a.m., something like that. So your time for breakfast will be tiered based on which service you're going to and how early that service starts. And then pretty much the way it works is you group up with anyone else in your flight going to that service. However, if you are the sole trainee who wants to go to, Church of Kangaroo Jack, you're gonna need to find a wingman to go with you. And if no one, not a single person in your flight, wants to take you or go with you to the service for Church of Kangaroo Jack, then your MTI will assign someone to go with you. Don't worry. If your flight mates are being mean, someone will be assigned to travel with you and you'll be fine. You can go get your Kangaroo Jack on. I'm here for it. A white rope, which is a person who kind of raised their hand early on in BMT to say they will guide people to different services across base. They will then guide you and your crew to the different service or to the service that you chose, and you will enjoy a great time. When I was at basic training, I remember about 10 to 15 services that were currently going on. Yes, there may have been other ones that had existed prior, but when we got the sheet provided to our flight, these are the ones you can choose from, and these are their start times and where they are located on Lackland Air Force Base. There were about 15 on that sheet. So, of course, from the ones that I remember, it of course includes both a Christian Christian Catholic service, so for our Catholics out there. Then there also was a Christian Protestant service for, not to group all in a stupid manner, but non-Catholics usually go to the Protestant service, which is going to seem very contemporary Christian. Other services include a Wiccan service, and then there is a Buddhist service, and also there was something called Atheist Church, which really, let's unpack the Protestant service, the Wiccan service, and the Atheist service really quick. I will say I never went to the Catholic service because I'm not Catholic. And I did not have the opportunity to go to the Buddhist service. But I did hear that it was quite calming. Okay, one of my fellow trainees did fall asleep during it. But to spin it more positively, it's quite calming. So, let's break some things down. The Christian Protestant service is what you would think of as a contemporary Christian, almost like a mega church experience. So of course, when you walk in 15 minutes prior to service starting, there is the contemporary Christian music playing, something like, raise your hand to the sky, Jesus is our Lord, something like that. That sounds right? So that kind of music with the praise team of 3 people with mics and a guitarist and a drummer. That is the experience at the Christian Protestant service. Excellent sermons the few times that I did go, it was actually excellent. Because remember, it was only a 7 or 8 week BMT experience. So I only got to go, if I was trying out a few services, you only got to go to the one you liked maybe twice, 3 times, at least for me. That's all I got to do. Anywho, it was very enjoyable. So if you like that kind of service, definitely check out the Christian Protestant service. It will be contemporary. It will be exactly what you are familiar with back home. Next, the Wiccan service. Now in this video, I don't have time nor the knowledge base to go into what Wiccan is. But I know it has a lot to do with nature, I think. I don't know. Long story short, I didn't feel like I was being a bad Christian going. It was fine. It was just nice to learn about another belief system. And yeah, I say if you have the opportunity, check it out just to open your eyes and be aware of what else is out there. Moving forward. And the last thing we're going to talk about, at least in regards to breaking down the religious services available, was the atheist/agnostic service available at BMT. And you do not have to be an atheist or an agnostic to go to this service. Pretty much it's for people who don't prefer to go to a religious service, but they still want to get out of their dorm room and have some sort of community moment on a Sunday. And so from what I remember, I only went to 1, maybe 2 atheist/agnostic services, but they're really just social. You go into this big arena. They show the latest movie trailers, because of course we don't have our phones or laptops, so we don't know what's going on in the world when we're at basic training. So it's really cool to just have like the newest Iron Man trailer get shown and everyone in the theater is like, ooh, ah. They also did show game trailers. They would show like the newest, I don't know, Final Fantasy 24. And so that would also get the theater very excited. And then the part that I enjoyed most about the 2 times I went to the atheist service, is that they did have a large portion, maybe a 30-minute block, allotted to open discussions. And so it almost seemed philosophical at times, but at least one of the topics, and the only one that I remember that was a discussion point, was, is there morality without organized religion? So did organized religion create a common basis for what is moral and what's not? Or is it built into our species of what is wrong and what feels wrong? And that is actually something that, yes, there's arguments on some topics, but there is some sort of very vague baseline throughout our species. And so that was one of the things that I remember being a topic at this service. And literally it was just, here's the topic, here's an open mic, anyone create lines on either side, because there was 2 mics. And when it's your turn, give your 30-second to a minute version of what you think on this topic. And it really just got everyone thinking. And so I really appreciated that part of the agnostic atheist service. But regardless, I enjoyed all of the different religious services that I got to visit. And I definitely encourage you to visit more than just the one you're most familiar with. If services are still a thing, then I definitely encourage you to use your time at BMT to check out a few different religious neighborhoods. So after services, you then just return to your squadron. Once again, you march there. I didn't mention it earlier, but you are marching to these places because you're in basic training. So you then march back to your squadron, and then you get breakfast with the people who pretty much just got back with you. So it's usually also slightly organized by what religious service you went to. And then you join all of your brethren or sisterin upstairs in your dormitory, and you kind of start doing some of the things that you did the day before. And so of course that includes rolling socks, cutting strings, and getting your locker together. And of course, after those things, spending some time studying. But there are 2 last things I do want to speak about prior to us wrapping up. The first thing, I already told you we were going to touch on it, is the laundry pass out extravaganza. So the way it works is everyone has some sort of like thing, their last name's first letter and like some numbers, maybe their last 4 of the phone number, on some part of each article of clothing. So the way it would work, at least in our flight, I don't know if your flight's gonna do this, but it works for ours, is they would say something like, laundry time, I don't know. And so the people who had done the laundry would bring up these huge bags back from the laundry room, you know, the same bags they took to the laundry room. And it would be, them calling us would be literally like a get in position. And so the way it would work is everyone would go to the people who brought back the bags of laundry. The bags would be laid out in our main hallway, like 5 or 6 bags laid out in a line. And we would literally walk in a circle going to both bays. So doing a full circle of the dorm in a way, and literally just, important note. Our flip-flops, I know it seems random, but it's important. Our flip-flops have our laundry mark on the back of them. So everyone would put their flip-flop, at least one, on the stands or the corners of their bed. Like if this was a thing right here, they just put it here. And so we would walk in circles for about 10 minutes, all 50 of us, looking at a random piece of clothing that we grabbed from one of the bags because it's a team effort, and just walking in a circle until we saw the laundry mark on a flip-flop that matched that article of clothing. So literally you just grab something, keep going like a freaking conveyor belt, and you see it on a random bed in the back of the bay, and you're like, this must be theirs, chuck it. So all these small piles of clothing start building on all of the beds. And it was actually a very efficient way to get everything that was yours. So that is how laundry is passed out. Please feel free to use that when you go to basic training because it's efficient and kind of fun in a way. And lastly, the other thing that I didn't quite bring up is that Sundays are very, very relaxing. So after laundry's passed out, after things have been folded and strings have been cut off of your uniform, and after you've got your locker together, Sundays are actually the time to just relax and kick it with the boys or kick it with the girls. So literally, Sundays would be a time where we were reflecting on our time back home. We would just be talking and joking and playing games, and we would be anticipating what the next week was gonna be like, if it was difficult or not, if we were about to go to Beast, what Beast week would be like. It's pretty much the only day during the week in which you got to not think of what came next, or I only have 10 minutes to talk to my friends. No, it was just, you just sat there and enjoyed each other's company. It's really nice. Also, MTIs tend not to come in on Sundays, so you just kick it. It's pretty great. So that is why a lot of people love a Sunday, but in general, both Saturday and Sunday, even though you do have a schedule on Saturday, the pace and the vibe is just more relaxing on the weekends. And so it's definitely something to look forward to. I hope this gives you some context on why some people really appreciate the weekends, and maybe others will say it's some of the most boring time where time just moves so slow. But regardless, I hope this gives you context into what your weekends at BMT may be like. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Per usual, hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video. I, of course, will be seeing you next week. Comment and like if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. You know I'll get back to you. And last but not least, if you want to, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @MichaelAInman_. Have a great week, and I'll see you later.